Okay. Yeah, I'm a big kid. Uh, these are probably my two favorite items that I have, um, along with my Hulk hands and other items. But clearly, you can see today we are talking about the very first Avenger, Captain America, Stephen Rogers, America.
Strong and brave, here to save the American way.
Welcome everybody to Infinity Watch, where it's my job to make sure I prepare you for the upcoming movie that's coming out next year, Infinity War. Today we are talking about Captain America, the First Avenger. This movie came out 2011, and we are given the first opportunity to see how it all began. Now, if we go back in time, we looked at Iron Man 1 and 2, we looked at Hulk, and we looked at Thor. Now, we're going to talk about a movie that connects all four of those movies into the timeline that we are at back in the time that Captain America existed. We opened the film in 1943. Actually, no. We opened the film in present day. We're going to assume 2011, where they discover the ship that Captain America was frozen in the Arctic. We see at the end of the movie why the beginning of the movie is so important. But we see that they find his shield, and upon finding his shield, they find his body. They don't show all that, but they make hints to it. Now, we go back in time, 1943. We are at the height of World War II. Nazis are running rampant, but they are losing the fight. They have a subdivision which is called Hydra, led by Johann Schmidt. Now, Johann Schmidt is looking for an artifact which is going to help him power his weapons. He gets to this community, he forces them to tell him where it is, he locates where it is, and we see the Tesseract. If you remember Thor 1, we see the Tesseract at the end credit with Eric Selvig and Nick Fury. We see the first glimpse of the Tesseract. Now in this movie, the first thing we do see is the Tesseract. We are told that from 1943 up until the present, the Tesseract has been sitting on Earth. We don't know how long it's been sitting on Earth, but it's been on Earth. Johann Schmidt has his hands on it, and now he's going to use that to power his weapons. Now, we're going to skip ahead a little bit. We now meet Stephen Rogers, a skinny Stephen Rogers, who tries to enlist for the army, but he continuously failed because of the fact that he is wimpy and his stature is pathetic. Look at him. But you can't question his heart. His heart is telling him that he needs to go out there and fight just like any other man. However, he just doesn't have the body for it. So, we go to the Stark Expo, and if you remember in Iron Man 2, we see the reopening of the Stark Expo by Tony Stark. In this movie, we see the opening of the original Expo, which is with Howard Stark, Tony's father. Now, in this scene, we see a bunch of Easter eggs. We don't have time to really go into all of that, but like I said, I have a guy who's going to touch on those very soon. We see the opportunity that Steve is given by one of the other scientists who notices him walking around and hears him and how passionate he feels about going into the war. Now, skipping ahead, we see him on the hospital bed, and we see this particular scientist come in and talk to him. Now, I want you guys to remember, this is who Captain America is, and the type of character that we see in him today, in this present time, tells us who he's going to be up until the present. He sits there and he's asked the question, well, do you want to kill anybody? He says, I don't want to kill anybody. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from. That tells you a lot about his personality. He's not going into war to fight these Nazis. He's going there because Nazis are bullies. And he don't like bullies because bullies has been affecting him his entire life. Now, he's given the opportunity to go to the army. He goes into the army and he is constantly bombarded by his stature. The general at the time does not want him to be the one selected to this program. And the reason for that is because, look at him, he's wimpy. And we have other soldiers who will do it, but then again, the scientist is not looking for the physical aspects, but they're looking for the inner. Because the serum is supposed to exemplify what is going on within. And it makes whoever's good, great. Whoever's bad, worse. And he also says that in the movie. Now, we make our way into New York. Steve is about to get the super soldier serum in order to make him into Captain America. He is the first of he proposed many who will have this serum and will become super soldiers. I want you to make sure and pay attention to this particular part. Not only do we see the transformation of a would-be Steve Rogers into a buff Steve Rogers, but we also look at a callback to Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. Now, if you remember, during Incredible Hulk, during the scene when they tried to cure Hulk, Hulk is sitting on the table, or Bruce Banner is sitting on the table, and he's about to transform into the Hulk. Now, every time he's about to transform into the Hulk, we see his eyes. His eyes turn really bright, and he turned really green. And it's the same type of reaction that we get. When we go to Captain America, when he is first given the serum, we see the exact same reaction. Instead, his eyes are blue. Now, you see the callback? That's why I tell you this particular movie is very important to the MCU thus far, because it connects all the tissue from the other movies. So, let's do a little recap. We see the Stark Expo from Iron Man 2. We see the Incredible Hulk reaction to transforming, just like Steve Rogers. We see the Tesseract that was in Thor. We see all of these things. This is how Marvel is creating their movie and creating the cinematic universe. It's near perfection. Anyway, Steve turns into Captain America, steps out, and during this whole time there's a Hydra mole that's sitting in the crowd. He sets off an explosion, kills the scientist, grabs one of the serums, and he heads out. Captain America runs after him. Incredible scene where he ends up getting him, pulls him out of his underwater submarine type thing, whatever, after this gruesome chase. Gets him out. The guy kills himself with cyanide. Now we have Captain America. And one thing about that scene also, you see Steven Rogers getting used to his new body. He's running faster than he's ever run before. As soon as he starts running, he starts looking at the ground, looking at himself, because he can't believe he's doing this. And there are times where he can't even control his speed nor his lift. When he jumps, he runs into things, he falls into glass. He has no control over his body. Perfect. Now, let's fast forward. Okay, now we have Steven Rogers at some of these shows, basically for the troops. And he is in the area where this war is going on, and he's not considered to be a soldier because he's considered to be a act, comic, if you want to call it. So now we're getting to the point where he's getting frustrated because he's not doing anything to help this war. He finds out that Bucky Barnes, James Barnes, his buddy in the beginning, may be dead, and so along with his entire crew. So basically he's told by the general that you can't go out, you can't fight them, you're nothing but a chorus girl, so go find yourself somewhere else. Kind of messed up. But Captain America, Steven Rogers, looks at the map, he decides to go save Bucky. Goes through this entire thing, and now we first see the first altercation between Steven Rogers and Johann Schmidt. Johann Schmidt takes off his mask, reveals that he is the Red Skull. The Red Skull is one of Captain America's greatest arch rivals, and we see the two of them be separated and two powers, good versus evil. So Johann Schmidt gets away, Captain America saves his crew. He comes back and he is celebrated by everybody, and now he has a group of guys who is going to be his commandos to help him bring down Johann Schmidt. We go through an entire montage of him going to different locations, destroying different things along with his crew, and it's pretty much getting more frustrating to Johann Schmidt because of the fact that everything he's trying to do is being delayed because Captain Americans keep coming through. This movie has a lot, and I don't want to waste too much of your time. I want you guys to watch this movie, so I'm not going to give you everything. So, we're going to skip ahead. We get to the final scene of the movie where, well, let's go backwards a little. So, on this train, they hop on the train, this train that's going where they have Dr. Zoloff on this train. Bucky, Steve, and the African American that's with them. I didn't really get his name. Anyway, they're on the train. Something goes down inside the train. Bucky gets hit with the actual blast of, I don't know, a blast. Hits him, and another thing, we're going to see this in Captain America too. Bucky's holding the shield, and if anybody knows the comic books, there are parts where Bucky holds the shield, Bucky wields the shield. We're not going to get into that too deep, but there is a part where he holds the shield, he gets blasted, sent to the side of the train, he falls off, and he's fallen into this winter abyss. Winter abyss. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, we get back to where we were. They decide to go take it straight to Red Skull. They decide to take it straight to him, and this is what they're going to do. They're going to crash his underground site in the Alps. They go ahead and do that. A lot of scuffling is happening. Johan takes off in this plane. Steve gets aboard. Steve and Johan fight it out. Now, there's a scene in that where we do see the Tesseract being used in its full power. So Red Skull picks up the Tesseract to try to put it back into this containment. The Tesseract starts to activate and it starts to open up a portal into space. Now, we do not see the death of Red Skull. We do see him get transported. In the next movie, the big movie, which is the Avengers, we're going to see the exact same thing. So it can lead you to believe that what happened to Red Skull is that he didn't die, but he got transported into another universe, or transported into another planet, or wherever the Tesseract decided to leave him. The Tesseract, again, is the space stone. So when it got reactivated, and once it got activated and came in contact with something organic or something alive, it took that entire thing and transported it to another universe. So we can only have that assumption. It's open to discussion. Leave your comments below. Now, we get to the point where Steve is now in this plane, and the plane is going straight to New York. He decides to take this plane and put it into a nosedive, which will land it into the North Pole, or Greenland, wherever it is on the map. There's a very sad conversation going on between him and Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter is a female throughout the entire movie. We do see a tender moment that goes on because he's saying goodbye to her. And she's telling him, well, you know, we have a date next week, so don't you be late. So basically, he's just giving him comforting words. Then the transmission goes out. Now, we're going to speed through, fast forward in the timeline. Now, Steve is gone. Howard Stark finds the Tesseract in the ocean. So that's how we explain why the Tesseract is in the possession of Nick Fury. Because Howard is one of the founding members of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Tesseract is in S.H.I.E.L.D. and now they're willing to start using it because they're getting more information regarding of it. And I believe the more reason to why they're using it now is the fact that the one person who had first-hand encounter with the Tesseract was Captain Rogers. So that's why they're bringing this out now, as opposed to the years that they could have been doing this. They have a better idea of how to use it because Captain Rogers can give them that idea. Steve Rogers wake up and he's told that he's in a rehabilitation place in New York. And the thing that gives it away is the game that's playing, he was physically at that same game. So he catches on to what's going on. He runs out, he's in the middle of Times Square, and that's when Nick Fury steps out and he tells him that you've been asleep for 70 years. And the way that they ended this film, which I thought was a very tender moment, and it was very sad, because he looked around and he was asked by Nick Fury, hey, are you okay? And then he said, yeah, I had a date. He's 70 years late for that date. That's a sad moment. And everybody could relate to that because, not to the fact that you slept for 70 years, but you could relate to the fact that you was really looking forward to doing something and then you're not able to do it because you were late. And it wasn't something that you were late because of the fact that you were just lazy. You were late beyond your control. And that's where we get to that. We speed through the ending and the credits. We see the final part, which is the end credit scene. And the end credit scene was literally an advertisement for the Avengers. Captain America was the connective tissue for all of the movies that were before it. It told us everything that we needed to know, and it caught us up to speed of all the characters that we're going to meet in this big blockbuster. That was pretty much it. Captain America was definitely a great movie. At the time, it wasn't really appreciated for what it was. And then over time, when we start to see all the connective tissue, and if you go back and watch it, you would get a better understanding and a better appreciation for the movie. The reason why I'm holding up this shield is because I want to show you this shield, because this shield is the original Captain America shield. Not the circular one made by Vibranium. This is the original shield that was in the comics. This was also the shield that they showed in the actual movie. This movie once again was filled with a lot of Easter eggs, and some of the Easter eggs, we saw the original outfit from the Captain America, the comic book, during a scene where he's walking and he's acting and stuff like that. We see that, and I thought that was pretty cool how they went ahead and nodded back to the original source material. One thing about Marvel, they really take good care of their source material. They do change it and warp it to fit the narrative of their current status, their current storylines, to make it more realistic and more reality based. However, they do a great job in integrating that. So, we're almost done with phase 1, the last movie that we are going to read and see and listen. And the next movie that we're actually going to review is The Avengers, the big blockbuster that came out in 2012. One of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Whether you are a DC or a Marvel fan, you cannot deny the fact that this movie did something that no other comic book movie has ever done, past, present, and possible future. So, we're in for a big ride. I am very excited to talk about that movie. That is one of my favorite MCU comic book movies of all time. So I cannot wait to review this with you. And once again, my name is C. Sams. Like, share, subscribe at the bottom. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know of your speculations. I know this is kind of old. This movie came out so long ago, almost about 6 years ago actually. But these movies are very important if we're going to understand what's going down in the big blockbuster that is coming out May 2008, Infinity War. Once again, this is Infinity Watch. This is your boy Sams. This is my Captain America shield. You hear that? It's real. Alright. Sams out.